Shut up and sit down.
Welcome to the Big Blue Offensive Podcast with Mike Trainer, Jay Jules, and John Depot. Hey, what's up, Giants fan? Welcome to the Big Blue Offensive Podcast. I'm Mike. That's Jules. That's John. This week, we've got a special guest coming on this week. I know him for a long time. I think he met me on the basketball court a long time ago. So he was able to witness greatness by when I stepped on the court. He's a big time Giant fan. Our boy, Vinny. Vinny, what's up, Vin?
What's up, guys? Thanks for having me.
Yeah, no doubt. What up, Vin?
I'm ready to talk about all things Giants. I'm all in. I'm ready.
Let's go.
That's what we like to hear. Jules, what topics we got going on, man?
Well, listen, you know how it is. We're actually getting closer and closer and closer to that draft. So you had certain guys that after the combine, so you had senior day, you had the combine, and now all these pro days are coming out. And guys are running fast the 40s. Guys look better in practice. It's almost as if they hold back for pro day, and now all of a sudden they start unleashing it. And by the reflection of all these things, listen, the draft order continuously changes. And it's going to be a constant thing till we get to that night where, of course, we'll be going live, and we're inviting all our former guests, all of our listeners. Anybody wants to come in, you can come on that shit. We're going to be doing it crazy live. We're going to have like a draft party. And if you watched our episode from last year, you know that shit was crazy fun because I don't even think we remember the last 4 picks of that draft that night.
I don't.
But, that's another story for another day.
I had to take off
yeah, man. Let's get into some of these signings. Look, you know what? The Giants, we were criticized. You know, it's crazy. And this is one thing I kind of want to just kick it off with, right? It was one thing about how criticized the Giants were last season for not doing any early offensive lineman signings, right? We ignored the entire draft. We didn't pick one offensive lineman throughout the entire draft. And everybody was going fucking crazy about it. Oh, my God, we're so stupid. Get them and fire him now. Look at this shit. And then, of course, we got bit in the ass. And we had all the injuries. And we were scrambling. And we were signing guys late. And it was just a whole catastrophe, right? But now we go out. And the Giants are actually using their heads. They're signing a lot of veteran players. They're getting guys that could play, guys that maybe, you know, maybe they didn't show up last year or got hurt last year, but they're coming back this season. They're not maybe, you know, top of the line offensive linemen, but they're very good and they look like upgrades over what we currently had. And yet, I don't know about you guys, I still keep hearing complaints where they're like, oh my God, we still got to go out and draft like 17 more linemen, bro. We got to make this offensive line crazy. And it's like, wait a minute.
Can only play 5.
Down. You have a couple of guys in place. 1 or 2 of these guys are going to be decent starters, and we're probably going to take a tackle in the top 10. But yet you still hear these people being like, yo, it's just stupid. Don't do what Gettleman did last year. It's like feast or famine with the fucking with Giants fans. It's either like they don't think we have enough of something, or they just fucking want every fucking offensive lineman that they could possibly have, so that we have a team full of offensive linemen and no other positions. I don't know. That's just the vibe I've been getting lately. In light of the whole Max Garcia signing, I'll fill up with some more comments, but I got to hear from you guys.
John?
I'm glad to see that we're not going to be in a position where we're literally signing guys like that are, you know, fucking making well drinks somewhere in fucking North Dakota a week before fucking season starts. It's good to see that they have a base. I still think that, you know, like Jules said, you know, top 10 picking an offensive lineman is still a wise move. It's not like they signed anybody for the offensive line that's some like fucking high-end, you know, Pro Bowl caliber player. They got nice depth. They got guys that should be able to hold down the fort, and so they could continue building the offensive line through the draft. I think that's exactly what they're looking to do.
Ben, what do you think?
It's positive to see that.
Ben,
I agree with you know, I agree with John and Jules. I think like Dave Gettleman, one of my criticism on Gettleman regime when it came to the line was he did it one or the other way, not both in one offseason. He would either do it through the draft and draft 3 linemen in one draft and not touch free agents, or he would do a bunch of free agents and not, you know, with Solder and stuff like that, and not do anything with the draft. I think, you know, Shane is going to give us a little bit of both. He's going to sign like John said, he's going to sign some bridge guys, some depth guys until we get, you know, so I hope one of those picks, I want a first rounder to be a lineman. and I hope that, you know, we'll get into the draft later. I'll tell you who I exactly want, but Icky and Neil are at the very top of my list, you know. So I'm hoping that these signings, I'm happy with them because I think the line needs the most work. And if we're gonna keep Daniel Jones upright and give him a chance, I think we need to have some guys there. I can't see the guys they've been rolling out. You know, I can't rely on, sadly, Nick Gates. I can't rely on you know, because we don't know if he's coming back. You know, Shane Lemieux, like, do we want to put all eggs in one basket with Shane Lemieux? Like, I like him as a, you know, as a run blocker, but as a pass protector, I don't know. You know what I mean? So we're not getting great guys here, but, you know, I'll take it. You know, I wish Will Hernandez would have worked out. He was the one Gettleman pick that I didn't see it coming. I thought that would have worked out. So
Everybody did.
yeah, I think the coaching really just screwed him up. You know what I mean?
It might have, but look at who we got, Ben. We got, you know, we signed Mark Glowinski, John Feliciano, and Max Garcia, right? And, you know, Gono from Atlanta, the right tackle. But we got rid of guys like, you know, Matt Skura, Billy Price ain't coming back. And, you know, obviously you just mentioned Will Hernandez. So it seems to be an upgrade to me on paper.
Yeah.
But again, we got to watch and see how they do next year. It could be the same shit. We don't know.
They're
Not
probably
only that,
they're probably like fringe starters, though. To
Maybe.
me. It's like they probably start, swing. They got versatility because I know Feliciano wants to play center, but he could swing around. I know the guy we just got. What's his name?
Max
From
Garcia.
Arizona.
Max Garcia.
He could go inside, and then, you know, I just want to make sure we get the tackles right. I hope we end up with a tackle in this draft. I hope we end up, and then we got Thomas, and let's go, you know, and then we'll fill in those gaps with these guys. You know what I mean?
You don't think Matt Pert is the guy at right tackle then? You think he's more of a guard?
Yeah. And that's where we screwed up with Flowers too. I'm sure Millar's will tell you about that one.
Yeah, we all know. We all know.
We've heard it so many times. But see,
what are you
that's
gonna say,
thing,
John?
though, right? Oh, John, yeah, did I? Well, let me just put this real quick. But that's the whole point right there. You know, you're putting in all these veteran guys to sort of fill up that middle. And if we go out and we solidify a right tackle, look, you know, let's be real here, right? How often are there, maybe with the exception of a guard here and there throughout the NFL, or maybe you know, an all-time center because the quarterback praises them all the time? But really, when you go through the teams, can any of you guys right now, without Googling, fucking look up and name the center for Tampa Bay right now, or the center for fucking Indianapolis Colts? You can't, right? Because these guys are pretty good. Because if your bookend line is actually protecting and doing what they need to do, and they're solid, these inside guys are going to look that much better. And now if you have a rotation of all these veteran guys where one is actually a capable starter in Golowski, yo, dude, you're right there, man. Like, yo, there's no line in football that I would look and say that all five of them are Pro Bowlers. That shit don't exist. So look, you know, I really do hope, and of course, obviously, we're gonna get into the draft. So, and everybody that listens to the show knows who I'm fucking praying for us to get for the right tackle spot. But with all that said, yo, you get that, and maybe down the line with 2 third-round picks, 2 fourth-round picks, whatever it is that's coming. I think it's 2 third and 2 fifth, but whatever. You know what I'm saying? Yo, you could get more guard depth there if you need. There'll be another center that's going to fall there. He might not be the top 3, but he'll probably be a top 5 center when you're looking in those type of rounds. And that's the type of guy you put in there with all these veterans. And that line is going to be 100 times better than it was a year ago, if not maybe even 2 years ago. And that's what people got to really realize. You cannot, there's no need to go out there and oversaturate any one position. This team has a dozen different needs. So, you know, that's got to be realized. And also, too, look, as much as I think I might, and we could, and things could turn around and everyone could stay healthy, the expectation is not Super Bowl this year. It's not. You know, we got like another year or 2 to build before we can start bringing in, okay, you know what? This guard didn't work out. That didn't work out. Let's go out and get a center. Let's pay for one. Let's
Super Bowl every year, Jules.
In the first round, huh?
It's Super Bowl every year. You crazy?
Yeah, still every year, baby. We
don't win the whole fucking thing next year.
Well, listen, we can definitely win that shitty East, but that's another story.
John, what were we going to say before?
I mean, I was going to say a joke, but now the timing is going to be completely destroyed.
Well, thanks, Jules, for that.
Yeah. And Jules went like 6 different directions, so I can't even remember my thought. I was just going to say, I hope that these free agent signings don't do what they did last year and they all retire in fucking August 25th. Where you get 3 guys fucking
that was a good point, actually.
That would hurt.
Yeah. But I don't know about the Matt Peart thing, man. I thought that he was going to be not to Andrew Thomas's like caliber, but I just thought it was going to be like a good fucking a good right tackle, just like good enough, not going to make Pro Bowls, but just be good enough to fucking man the position for the next 4, 5, 6 years until whatever happens after that. But it hasn't been that case so far. And if we do have the opportunity where we can get one of those high end guys and be able to have 2 legit top 10 tackles on the same team, like you got to take that swing. It doesn't matter who's on the roster. He's a 3rd round pick from 2 years ago or not. Maybe that makes him a really good swing tackle should we need him to play swing tackle. And then, the other guys are just going to be your veteran, your veteran depth, practice squad, stuff like that.
I'm more excited this year coming into this year than I have been with the offensive line. So hopefully it works out.
I'm more excited about the offense in general. Now having like a real offensive coordinator, or so we hope, just to see what our players can fucking do. It sucks. I mean, Evan Ingram was really a nightmare, but it really sucks that we didn't get to see that vision of the team, like those players on the field together with a good offensive mind, kind of, captaining the ship.
Well, we're going to see it.
Didn't all happen, but
we're going to
see it, but we're not going to see it with Ingram.
Yeah.
I mean, I guess tight end's not that big of a deal. You still have Barkley and Tony and Galladay and all those guys, but it would have been cool to see like all 3 layers of your skill positions all having like dynamic players at them.
Well, at least Daniel Jones will get his chance officially like this coming season. I know we all 3 of us talked about Daniel Jones, previously. I just want to get Vinny's opinion on, what Mara thinks about Daniel Jones. He thinks he's the guy. He thinks he has a quarterback in the building. He came out and said that. Vin, what do you think about Daniel Jones?
All right. Let me first start with Mara. I can't stand John Mara. I really, he is not his father. I don't even like that he comments. I know he's the owner. It's the one guy you can't fire, but he needs to shut the fuck up. I am sick and tired. Him talking about it like Daniel Jones is our guy. It's like, are you still involved with the decision making? I thought you were going to leave that up to Shane and Dable and stuff like that, which I think he did slip into his comments, but it's like, I don't know. He just sounds like a guy that's still really involved with personnel decisions, which leave it up to the football guys. That's why you're paying 3 coaches on your payroll right now. So Mara's, I like if you look around the league, the more successful franchises usually have owners that you don't even know about. You don't hear about, and Mara used to kind of be like that, but with the losing, he kept getting more and more involved. And now, he's been the issue. All right, let me get off of Mara.
Well, before you get off of Mara, like real quick, if he didn't come out and start talking to the media during like the losing times, then the media, you know how the New York media is, they'll be like, oh, where's the owner? Why ain't he talking? You know what I mean?
Right,
They'll find a way to bitch about that too. You know what I mean?
Right.
Yeah, but how
he's
often
definitely
do you
demanded.
hear, I was just gonna say real quick, how often do you hear the New York Jets owner coming out and talking? Right? It's the same market media. It's the same New York City. They play in the same fucking stadium.
Nobody cares about
it. No one even knows who the fuck owns the Jets.
That dude is like dead. He's like Weekend at Bernie's. He's like Bernie Lomax. He just fucking walks around with him fucking all the time. Nobody knows who that guy is. He's a walking dead.
It's not the same though. You playing for the Jets versus you playing for the Giants, or you being the Giants owner. It's different. The spotlight is certainly brighter on fucking the Giants than it is on the Jets. The Jets are just accepted as just like a secondary type of like just one of the 32 teams. The Giants aren't looked at like that in the fan base or outside the fan base, even though there's fucking haters everywhere for the team. But he's being asked to do media sessions. Like the fans demand it, the media demands it. They get fucking abused when they don't do it. So you gotta. And he's being asked direct questions. He's got to answer the questions. What is he supposed to say? And realistically speaking, of the 32 teams, how many realistically the owners have absolutely no input on who the quarterback is for the team? I don't think that they care so much about who the left guard is going to be, or the fucking slot cornerback. I don't think they get involved to that degree. But of the 32 teams, realistically, how many aren't involved with who that starting quarterback is going to be, or who their premier players are going to be?
Quarterback's
Robert
the
Kraft.
face of the franchise, so I would say, yeah, they got to be.
It's still
really
a business
involved.
at the end of the day. You still got to get asses in seats. You still got to get fucking jerseys sold. You got to sell hot dogs and beer. Like, you got to be involved with your product. You can't just be like, oh yeah, I'm gonna go fucking sit on my yacht. Like, you guys do what you want to do.
Well, I just think
What's the point?
I just think the good owners are the ones that hire. You got to have that three things for a foundation for a really good, successful franchise. You need the GM, coach, quarterback. Those are the three. It starts with the GM. You get the GM in there that works in conjunction with the coach, and boom, you will draft. You will find that quarterback. You know what I mean? That is like, I don't mean to sound like a Generation Z or millennial or whatever it is, but this league is all about passing. You don't have a quarterback, you don't have a prayer. And to answer your original question, I don't think Daniel Jones is it. I think we've seen his ceiling. I'm hoping for better, but I never liked the pick to begin with.
Where's the mute button on this thing?
We went with a quarterback. we went with a quarterback where we could have went with defense that year. We had the guy Josh Allen from West Kentucky, who is going to be good for the Jaguars, and he fell to us. And I was just saying his name over and over, give us Josh Allen, and we picked Daniel Jones, which it would have possibly been there with a Dexter Lawrence pick, which was another debacle, if you ask me. I'm very critical of the team, and that's what you're going to get from me. I love the Giants, but the decision making has been lackluster. Daniel Jones is a turnover machine. He's very skittish in the pocket, and I get it. Things around him haven't worked out. We haven't put our best foot forward in protecting him, which is something we needed to. But I don't know. He takes off a lot. His biggest problem is injuries. You know what I mean? I think we will see Tyrod because Daniel Jones can't make it through, 6 weeks, especially when we need him most. You know what I mean? But he does give us the better chance in Tyrod Taylor to win. I want him to be the starter. And something that nobody else is talking about, I think Jules was alluding to it in the beginning, and then I'll stop. The neck injury. Every time you hear a neck injury in football, it's a career ender. Look at Peyton Manning. Look at the guy, David Wilson, that used to do the flips in the end zones. I love David Wilson. That dude had the neck injury. You never saw him again.
Nope.
You know what I mean? So I heard last that Daniel Jones is not going to be ready till like August. Dude, this dude's neck got hurt. When was it? December, November? You know what I mean? Like, I don't know if they're telling us the truth. I don't know if they're shooting us straight about his injury.
Well, listen, I'm glad you brought that up because literally, if you were on the Giants app, Brian Dable came out today saying that Jones should be ready. Not that he's hoping, not that, this is what his expectation is, that he's going to be ready for their off-season working. So that's going to be mini camp, training camps. You're talking like May. So I don't know. We honestly, we don't know the extent of this neck injury, to be honest with you, right?
It was weird the whole way.
The whole way it was weird, right? Because he was getting ready to play, wasn't getting ready to play.
He's going to come in the next week and all that.
Judge thought he had to secure a job, so he didn't really give a fuck. Like, to me, if you really look at it and you really try to take yourself out of this picture as a Giants fan or just an NFL fan in general, it almost looked as if, not that he could play, but it was like one of those things where it's like, look, if we were in a playoff hunt or we were going to the playoffs, he may have been healthy enough for the playoffs. I don't know. I'm not going to go that far out there. I don't know what the severity of this injury was. It felt like it came out of nowhere because it's not like he got hurt in the middle of a game and then left or got carried out on the stretcher. Right. The dude just got hurt. And then all of a sudden he wasn't able to play. And at the same time, you had an offensive line that was atrocious that, like, literally, I think I could have pass rushed against and got in and got to the quarterback. All right. And you had all the star players. Tony not playing. Galladay was kind of iffy. Barkley was iffy, right? Like, no one was actually playing at that certain point. And if you go back to where the injury was, no one was playing at that point, right? It was maybe like a 50% Barkley. And the rest of the offense was just like, yeah, we're done. We're kind of taking off this year. Yeah, so, right. Like, why would you put your then at point, quote unquote, franchise quarterback who may be injured in a position where he could really fuck his neck up, and all of a sudden now he's a Peyton Manning or now he's a David Wilson, like you mentioned, so I don't know if it was precaution. I have no clue what it was, but it was just definitely something to put in interest. But then to see Dable come out today and literally say that he's going to be ready for off-season action?
That's
It
next
makes you
week,
wonder how
George.
serious this was, huh?
Well, I mean, the season also ended fucking 4 months ago.
True.
So keep
True.
that in mind. But their off-season program starts April 4th, which is next week.
Yeah.
So
if he's not
gonna
out
be,
there.
he's gonna be
Yeah, but I gotta say, in this whole neck injury, he was out because me and my brother went to Miami when we saw him in the Dolphins. We were like, "Yo, is Daniel Jones gonna play?" Because he's out there, he's flinging the ball in the pregame. You know what I mean? We're like, "Yo, maybe he's gonna play." He never ended up playing, and we got Glennon. So like, I think for like off-season workouts and all that, there's no hitting, there's no pads.
Right.
You know what I mean?
Exactly.
So I think he could do all that stuff because he was throwing the ball the whole time, and we're like, "Yo,
Yeah.
maybe he's gonna." We thought he was gonna play. He didn't end up playing. So I think
You're talking about contact.
Yeah. I'm
Right,
talking about
exactly.
camp. I'm talking about real summer camp. You know what I mean? Like, can he do that? Will he be ready then?
But that's the point. If he's going to be out there, he's going to be going through all these OTAs and throwing the ball around, hitting the weight room, doing all shit. The only thing you could protect him is like maybe hold him out for like a game or two in the preseason. Where you're like, we're not putting him in game one. Yeah. There's no need. Maybe game two. Game three, we'll let him go for a quarter. Right. And that's where the real test will come. But I mean, look, if he's in full go up until that point and they don't, because, look, professional sports has a way, right? Like, we're getting ready for the baseball season. If you see a pitcher, all of a sudden he's struggling like the first month of baseball, all of a sudden the guy's on the IL. He's got inflammation of an elbow, like something weird, right? And the guy literally takes his head out, clears his fucking head, gets his mind right, gets back there. They'll do the same shit during all season for football. You know what I mean? You'll hear all of a sudden the guy, kind of tweak the hammy in practice. Might not be something right. Might they just want to push him. Maybe he needs to clear his head. There's a whole bunch of different things. So they can easily disguise certain things with Daniel Jones. Obviously, with his injury history, you don't want to hear anything. You just want to hear a full, clear bill of health till the end of the summer. No doubt. But other than that, there's ways to sort of hide it. So we start seeing those things. That would be alarm bells. But to me, seeing that they're already coming out publicly and saying that he's going to be able to participate in any of this off-season stuff, it seems like a good sign to me. I don't know. Look, I've been back and forth with Jones. I thought he was going to be the guy last year. I wanted to give him a full go, full 100% credit. And, then last year happened. And now this year, I kind of want to ride with him. I don't know. Like if these guys are backing him and these guys have worked with Josh Allen and Pat Mahomes and all these quarterbacks and they still see something in him, there's got to be something there. I'm not saying, like I said, I'm not saying he's going to be a top 10 quarterback in the NFL, but look, if he's in the top 20, top 15, you could win with a quarterback that's that high.
Joe Montana could have played last year behind that Giants team, and he would have looked like a fucking disaster. I mean, look what happened after Jones got hurt. We went to Mike Glennon and then Jake Fromm from State Farm, and they both looked like they were on the verge of like getting like one more hit, and they probably would have ended up like dying out there. They looked, because I think Mike Glennon actually went out with like a broken wrist. Fromm got hit in the head like 18 fucking times in one fucking game. Then they just decided to quarterback sneak it on fucking first and second and third down. So listen, I give Jones all the credit in the world. I hope he, for our sake, for not going to another quarterback, especially like to develop one for the next fucking 3-4 years. I want Jones to be the guy. It'll be so much better for the team and everybody else. And it seems like you don't hear anything bad about Jones from the players. Usually, like if the quarterback sucks, like Baker or whatever, you hear people come out saying this guy's garbage, trash. You don't ever hear a fucking peep out of that. So that's kind of saying something to me. So I'm just hoping for the best coming into next season.
To that point, the players on the Giants like aggressively fucking defend Jones. Like when they're asked about him, when he's clowns, like they're not just like, oh yeah, he's a good quarterback, he's a guy for now, here's our leader. Like they're aggressive about their responses about him. They believe in Daniel Jones. I've been a fan of Daniel Jones since fucking a couple days after he was drafted. I was obviously shocked, just like everybody else. But I think he's got what it takes. I think he's shown on the field that he's got what it takes to be a very good quarterback, consistent playoff team caliber quarterback. He doesn't need to be fucking Aaron Rodgers. Doesn't need to be Patrick Mahomes. I fucking would tattoo Eli Manning's face on my fucking scrotum. He was never the best quarterback in the league, and he probably flirted top 10 in and out through the course of his career. But we won 2 Super Bowls with him. And in 2011, he was the reason why we went to the playoffs and went to the Super Bowl. Comeback king. You don't need to have the top guy. You have to have the right guy. Daniel Jones, if nothing else, if you don't want to say anything good about him, he was built personality-wise for this market. There's no one that's you can almost can't picture anybody in the league who is more suited personality-wise than to play fucking in for the New York Giants specifically.
You gotta have thick
fucking
skin.
like I said, the Jets. You can fucking put anybody in there. You know they're always just looked at as second class, and it's just what it is. So the pressure is just less for them. It's not an insult. It's just the reality of the situation. Daniel Jones is built for it. I think he's got what it takes, and I just fucking hope that
Who's the Jets
Brian
quarterback?
Dable could fucking
Zach Wilson.
Zach Wilson.
Wilson.
So like, like he has like a little issue in New York. When he came out, they were throwing pictures of his mom out there. Like, look how hot his fucking mom is.
Draft night.
Yeah, draft night. Like, I'm like, oh shit, she is kind of fucking banging, And like, imagine like you gotta have strong skin in New York because they just throw dirt and fucking everything they can at you, man. So John, you're right, man. You got to have a guy like that because if you draft the wrong guy, it could turn into a fucking disaster.
If I could say two things about Jones, because I do hope for him to do well, but I just don't see it. I don't know. I think he doesn't win games. There were not last year, the year before, there were some opportunities there where we could have won some games against Chicago, and he just couldn't close these games out. And again, is it his fault?
Atlanta.
He's got to take some responsibility. A young quarterback needs to win games to build confidence. Win them. I don't care how you do it. Just fucking win some games. You know what I mean? Build the confidence up. And then to another point, I'm going to be the critic here. The Giants locker room, I give this credit to Gettleman. It's a good locker room. They cleaned it up. That's why losing Logan Ryan hurts me because we didn't even save any fucking money. Logan Ryan was a great leader on defense. You know what I mean? I love the way he spoke. Jabril Peppers seemed like another good guy in the locker room to have. I hate Leonard Williams because of that behemoth contract that he received, but Leonard Williams is a good guy.
Shows up. Player.
Yeah, like he's a good. Is he a leader? No, but he's a good dude. And then we got a bunch of young kids. Like our team is young, so I wouldn't expect any like veteran. Galladay's the only one that I would think would talk shit about the quarterback. But other than him, I don't see any bad character guys. Maybe Tony because he seems to be busy rapping and getting hurt instead of actually playing some football. So I think our locker room is pretty clean. It's young. I think we got some good dudes in there. So a testament to Gettleman, in that regard, that he was able to clean the locker room up.
Listen, you know what I want to see?
Yeah, it's not a circus like it was.
No, it's definitely not. You know what I want to see more
They're young,
of,
like Vinny said. I like that.
I want to see more of a character from Daniel Jones. Think about this.
No,
for
you
a moment,
don't.
right? Like you do, but no, not.
Watch a
like
movie if
I
you
don't
want
need
to see a character,
persona.
bro.
I don't need a persona or anything, but like I want to see the guy doing more commercials or something. I want to see him talk more in the press. I want to see him be more of that leader, so that at least that maybe people could start seeing some of these traits that we don't see, that these guys are hearing in practice, these guys here in the locker room, these guys see when they're in the field with him. I don't know, right? I get it. I understand that Eli was that quiet leader and he got away with it, but that was Eli fucking Manning. If you want to talk about thick skin, this dude had to deal with two older brothers. One older, probably beat the shit out of him, picked on him all growing up throughout fucking school and everything else. He had one brother that was going to be the next fucking Joe Montana being drafted. Like he was always in the shadow. So that was his persona, right? He was the little brother that was stepping up all the time. That was a tough motherfucker and just got the job done. So like that shined through him. And plus they had Tiki in the beginning. So Tiki was like sort of that spokesperson. He was the one that was always loud and large and out there. I'm not saying Daniel Jones has to be that guy because maybe that's not his personality, but I would just want to see more leadership skills. I would have seen him owning it. Like imagine if he came out, after that Atlanta game and was just like, you know what, we could have burned a little more time off the clock or owned up to something. You know what, I cost the team this win this week. Or, any of those type of things. Because listen, Atlanta and Washington, we go back and forth over. They probably could have, should have, would have won, but they didn't, right? And at the end of the day, I blame the defense. I won hard on the coach, right? So we don't need to relive that past, but that's where I went with that. But those are games that were winnable. He drove them down the field. He went down the field against Washington. He went down the field against Atlanta with the healthier squad at that point. And you know, so Lord, those games get forgotten. And I'm not saying that that's what he needs, but maybe if he was just a little more boisterous, just a little, like just showed leadership. He doesn't necessarily have to be Tom Brady yelling and screaming like a madman on the sideline. You know, just a little something. He comes out in the press and he's just like, you know what? I'm not trying to challenge anybody, but I could have done this. I could have done that. You know what? Maybe I fell a little short. I'm gonna put this one on me. You know what I mean? Like just something.
He's in order for him to do commercials, he's got to win a Super Bowl first, and then he'll get the Dunkin' Donut commercials like Eli did. You know what I'm saying?
Yeah, that's the thing. You're comparing somebody who was in the NFL for 16, 17 years to somebody who's only been in there for 3 years.
No, but look at Baker Mayfield. He has like 17 commercials, and the guy's a backup on his own fucking team.
Number one draft.
He has a personality.
That shit, bro.
If Baker Mayfield was drafted by the Giants and carried on the way he carries on, you wouldn't believe the fucking drama that would be going on with the fucking Giants right now.
I agree.
Like it would be an
Oh,
absolute
100%.
circus. So you got to fucking appreciate the fact that the more opportunities that you're saying, like talk to the media more and stuff like that, the more words he says, the more stuff is going to get picked apart and the more fucking shit that's going to come around.
Yeah.
You want him, you almost want him to fucking have been a mute in a sense where he just doesn't have to talk to the media whatsoever. Like, sorry, bro, I can't speak. We use sign language here. Go fuck yourself. You know what I mean? You don't want to give anybody any opportunity to fucking come back at you.
Yo, Jules.
The only
I'm sorry, John. To John's point, like I think the most successful New York athletes, like recently, have been Eli Manning and Derek Jeter, because what John said is they don't say shit. When the fuck did Derek Jeter ever say anything about any controversy? What controversy did Derek Jeter ever have? Same with Eli. What controversy?
bitches. That's
to your point there,
Not even about
Jeter
A-Rod.
was
kept it
constantly
quiet.
defending the Yankees. Hold on. To your point, though, Jeter was constantly defending the Yankee squad and team in the press. He was always that guy. That's why he became the captain, because he was that guy that would step up and say to the media, yeah, we lost tonight. Roger wasn't throwing his best stuff. You know, we didn't hit. We didn't do. He would say shit like that. That's what you want to see out of the quarterback. You know what I'm saying? If this guy is that guy, right? If everybody's doubting his skills, but his team, for whatever reason, right? And coaches are saying they got it. And everybody's trying to make it seem like, oh, you know, they're just saying that because what are you going to do? You know, just like disrespect your quarterback. You're going to keep him. You're not going to throw him under the bus, right? Even though teams do, but they're saying you're not going to do it. I'm just talking about him showing leadership skill. That's it. I'm not saying go out there and talk shit, guaranteed wins. He's not Joe Namath. He's not going to do any of those kind of crazy things and say, you know, he's going to win a Super Bowl. No. I'm just talking about like if he literally just said, look, yeah, you know what? I need to get a little bit better. I fucked up this game. I should have never thrown that pass. Any of that kind of shit. And just owned up. You know, the focus was all on Judge last year.
That's what he said.
You heard Judge in the media all day, every day. That was it. You never heard any players say anything about any game. Maybe a little Logan Ryan chirped in and had a little quote in the press or one of the other guys. You know, that was it. You want your quarterback to also be part of that franchise, right, Vin? You said it earlier. What? It's the GM, the owner, and the QB, right? Those are your top three that you said need to work in order to make it work. That's the holy trinity, if you would, of the NFL. Well, you need your quarterback to have a little bit more of a vocal point. You can't just live and die with Eli Manning, like that lifestyle of just staying back and being quiet. Pat Mahomes speaks up. Josh Allen, if he doesn't say anything negatively, he goes out and he does things in the community. He makes himself aware so that people are really liking them as a person. You know, you got to develop yourself too, man. Like you're in front of the media all the time. You can't just hide. I mean, look at how crazy things got for Zach Wilson. That kid had a rough rookie year. His mom was all over social media. Imagine having to deal with the fact that your mom is like talking for you, bro. That's just crazy. You're supposed to be a grown man playing for a fucking NFL team, and you got your mom out there talking for you. You know, and like she's doing more feedbacks. There's people that criticize Zach Wilson and then went after her, and she like fired back at them. Could you imagine? It's a circus right there. If that was the New York Giants, that shit would have been everywhere. But because, like we mentioned earlier, that the Jets get kind of put on the back page, that's literally what happened to that whole ordeal. So that's what I'm just saying. Like, if this dude step up in just 1 or 2 games, my bad. Yo, I fucked it up. You know what, guys? I could have been better tonight. I threw 3 interceptions. I didn't look good against Tampa. I didn't do this. Just anything. Just own your shit, bro. It ain't that big a deal. I'm not saying you got to go out there and fucking whatever. Own your shit.
Jules.
What's the media, John? What's the media going to say if he went out there and owned this shit? They're going to be like, nah, you didn't own your shit good enough, bro.
You got to hold to one point and then like let the conversation go. You hit too many different things. It's hard to
You're
fucking-
like fucking
Sorry,
like
sorry, I
10
went on a tangent
different
there. I went
things.
crazy.
yeah.
I lost
Yeah,
it.
you're talking about
all
Zach
right? Then
Wilson's
he got me
mom. Like,
seeing
we're talking
Jules
about
go
Daniel
nuts.
Jones right now. Jesus Christ.
Like God, Zach Wilson's mom. Like, you know, they got fucking the hot mom, and we got Eli Apple's mom. Like, we got fucked. Yeah, guys, you want to take a quick commercial break, and then we'll get into some draft.
I gotta just defend one thing with Daniel Jones.
Well,
Jules,
yeah,
the shit
John,
you're saying
go
that he
for
needs
it.
to say to the media, he does say to the media. Just listen to his press conferences. Listen to his post-game press conferences.
Yeah, that's
exactly
what I
what
was
you're
gonna
saying he needs to say is what he says.
Yeah, it's
Yeah.
basically like
I
generic
gotta listen
type
again,
shit.
maybe.
Yeah.
I gotta do a little better job listening. It's so quiet. It's so like back page, and I don't even get to hear it.
It's what you want, bro. What you want.
Yep. You can't change a leopard stripes or whatever. So he is what he is. But listen,
Oh, that's a leopard.
we'll be right back on the BBO NYG podcast. We're gonna be talking some draft and see who our special guest Vin likes in the draft coming up in only like a month away. We'll be right back. All right, guys, we are back on the BBO NYG podcast. I'm Mike. That's Jules. That's John. That's special guest Vin. Draft, right? Vin, I'm gonna go to you, man. We've talked about who we want at 5 and 7. We talked about trade scenarios, trade backs. Now this coming up, the Detroit Lions are now openly shopping the number 2 pick, so that throws a whole nother fucking wrench into this and who falls to us. But Vin, who do you like at 5 and 7 from the New York Giants?
Okay, on my board so far, there are about 4 guys that I really, really want. I want the 2. So, and then we're at 5. So I like the 2 tackles, Neal,
Yep.
Icky. I don't care whichever one falls to us, I'll be grateful because that fills value with need and best player available. You know what I mean? I like that we're not in the top 4 pick because there's no quarterback there. It's not a quarterback draft. You know what I mean? So, I'm okay with that. We're at 5. And then I like the 2 defensive ends. I like the Hutchinson kid out of Michigan. I think he's got a good motor on him, good leadership skills. And I also love Thibodeau from Oregon. I don't know why he's jumping around. Like Jules was saying with the mocks are all crazy. It's Thibodeau that's moving the most.
Yeah, it's weird.
I can't believe it. I don't know if it's, they question his work ethic or
I can tell you what.
maybe it's he played on Oregon and a lot of these guys that came out last year didn't play the year before because of COVID, and look at Micah Parsons, you know what I mean? So but then you have somebody like Clowney where people questioned him in college with his work ethic then, and like the guy's injured all the time now. So he's nicked up all the time. So it's all a crapshoot, but I want one of those 4 at 5.
If you couldn't get one of those 4, and this is the ultimate question now, and this is what's sparking all the debate. Let's just say by chance, maybe it's a trade, whatever, with Detroit. All 4 of those guys are gone. Right? That's it. They're gone. Now, who are you taking at 5 and 7?
I can't trade. I'm still picking.
You're on the clock now. The Jets just took Icky off the board at 4, and the other 2 are gone.
I don't like to draft defensive backs that high. I don't draft best player available. I would draft for need. So my first option would be to try to get a trade down. In desperation, I hope I get to fleece another team. But if you're telling me people have already traded up with the Lions, somebody's already gotten fleeced. I don't think anybody's trading up for the Lions pick. Honestly, there's no quarterback. Unless there's a quarterback, who's trying to? Is it Malik Willis that people are pining for at number 2? Get the fuck out of here! It's not gonna happen. So the Lions, they could put it out there all they want. Nobody wants their pick. It's too high. People want to trade with us. We have that 7 pick. We have that 5 pick. I think people would be willing to take Malik Willis at 7, possibly, or maybe they could go after Sauce Gardner at 7. So I don't want the defensive backs because I don't want them that high. But losing Logan Ryan and Jabril Peppers within a week, I feel like we're gonna draft one again.
You don't want Kyle Hamilton at a Notre Dame? That dude's a stud.
I saw his combine number. His 40 was slow. but I hear that he covers really well. I heard Stingley might be the better move there. I don't know. I keep hearing different reports about Hamilton. He's another one's kind of jumping around. I feel like the Jets are going to take a defensive end. You know what I mean?
Defensive
I don't
end.
know if they're gonna, yeah, I think they're going to go
Wow.
with a defensive end, and they have to. This is a team that never picks defensive ends in drafts. Like, I don't understand them. They always go with a D tackle.
I think they're going corner because they got to cover Tyreek Hill in Miami now. Like they got, Buffalo wide receivers. Diggs.
You think they go Stingley or they'll go
I think they go.
Sauce?
I think they go Sauce, which is going to make me a little bit pissed off because I think he's the next Darrell Revis, and it just seems
You
like the
think he's
Jets are
that
going to
good,
get
huh?
Yeah, he's good. They're gonna get the next Darrell Revis. I'm pretty sure they're gonna get him.
Yeah, they had
So that'll leave us a defensive end then.
do shit.
Yeah, so I don't know. I still gotta do some homework, but all those other guys like Linderbaum, he's
Well, what about Cross? Cross is the big name that
I like
comes up in
Cross.
tackle. Cross is the one. I mean, I watched some film on him, and I even had a couple of guys that came back at me, and they were like, on social media, basically saying, go watch film, go watch film, go watch film. And I did. And listen, let me tell you something. Cross is one hell of a run blocker. He is. Like, let me tell you, he gets after it, bro. I've seen this guy get after fucking like defensive corners and shit and secondary guys, and nail them. Like
Will
catch them
Hernandez
and
was the same
fucking
way,
block them
Jules.
down.
Yep.
Yeah, but you see, and there we go, right? So now you brought up a good point. But when I saw him doing his pass coverage, it was good. I'm not gonna say he sucked, but there was times, man, he got caught with guys going inside, and he got help, and he was able to kind of like push him into the line. You ain't getting away with that kind of shit in college, in the pros, rather, that you get away with in college. Guys all taking him on the outside. The NFL guy ain't gonna continue going all the way on the outside loop to try to come around and get a quarterback. That's a college thing. So, those were some of his biggest highlights. And when it came to pass, the way his stance was, the way he gets out of it, his body, he was very kind of high when he was pass blocking. He didn't get lower like you would want to see on some of these tackles. So that would be a major question mark for me. And that's part of the reason why I don't like Cross. So when you do hear about that crazed out scenario there, where it's like, what happens to those four guys that everybody wants to hope for there aren't there, now you got to really start fucking kind of backpedaling. I mean, look, to me, I think Trevor Penning is just as good as Cross. I don't know why he's not getting the same kind of hype at tackle.
I'll tell you why Penning's not, because there's a lot of penalties. There's a lot of penalties that nobody's talking about. Everybody says he's nasty. He's got like a nasty dog in him. No, he did a lot of penalties on the pass protection. That's why I think Penning might be overhyped a little bit too much right now.
I don't want Cross. You could cross him off my list. Fuck him. I don't want him nowhere near the Giants at number 5 or 7. No way.
I want the pass protector. And I agree with Jules. Like, if you're a good run blocker, good for you. Not a top 10 pick. Absolutely not.
That's what I'm saying. You can't take that guy with the fifth overall pick, man. Right. If it wasn't just this crazy NFL, what's really affecting this whole sort of like tackle draft this year is what you were saying, is what we've all been saying, is that there's no quarterbacks. I mean, last year, the first 3 pick was all quarterbacks. The first 3 picks off the board. And you had Jamar Chase in that fucking draft, okay? So dude, let's just stop there for a moment, right? Imagine you fucking flip to this year, and all of a sudden now, with Jamar Chase being there and shit, you got your choice of any edge rusher. You got your choice of fucking anybody, because literally it was all quarterbacks. So that's not part of it. So now what's the next most need that teams need? A left tackle, right? Like they're always like, oh shit, we need a left tackle, or you need a guy that gets after the quarterback. That's it. That's how the NFL draft is built. Or now, because like you mentioned way earlier, Vin, since it is such a pass heavy type of fucking NFL, you need a shutdown corner. And I don't know. Listen, I know you mentioned Stingley. Look, he was phenomenal in 2019 for LSU, right? 2020, we know, was the whole COVID thing, but he tried playing, he got hurt, and then we never saw him again. And 2021, he didn't rebound, and he was plagued with some injuries. So Stingley, you're kind of going off of what he did in 2019, where he was that standout shutdown corner where you were like, holy shit, this dude's going to be that guy. And let me tell you something, Mike, and we're going to get into this more as we get closer to the preview for the draft, with actual previews. Look, this cornerback class is deep. Very deep. So we do pull off a trade and we do trade James Bradbury, we can still get a really quality corner in rounds 2. The problem becomes, and it's what we've been going over and over and over again and again and again, is that really the top 2 tackles that I see in this current draft are Icky and Neal, and that's it. And if both of them are off the board, I believe in my heart of heart that you could still get a good, solid right tackle in round 2. Or if you get lucky, you could trade back 7. That's where these other tackles are going. Once you get outside the top 10, yes, that's where they belong, and that's where they're going. That's why I would take Cross. Shit, if we were picking like 14th or 12th or something, I would be all right with Cross there. No fucking problem. We'll take him. I'm good with him.
Tyler.
You
I
know?
take Tyler ahead of him.
Well, yeah, all right. Then you got to start putting that into the mix. Exactly. Where Linderbaum then looks like a great pick because, guys, I hate to admit it, but now they're starting to show mock drafts where Linderbaum might go to the Cowboys or he might end up in Philadelphia. Oh, God, I threw up in my mouth just saying that.
Damn, that sucks. That would suck.
I wonder if you went back and looked at like the last 10 years and looked at the actual draft and then like the mock drafts, like everybody has like 1, 2, 3, 4 mock drafts, like each one of these fucking talking heads, and seeing which one of those, like statistically on average, is most accurate. I bet you once you get to this point in the offseason that just for the sake of conversation, they start bumping mid guys, like mid first round, late first round guys up early. That way they have something else to talk about. Because if you're going to make content every single day, like ESPN and all these different fucking places, you can't say, Thibodeau, however you say his name, from last year all the way through this season, into this offseason, into the draft this year. People are going to get bored of hearing that shit. So you got to keep recycling new names, this and that. Bucky Brooks, just got an alert while you guys were talking about the draft. Just his latest mock draft. Fucking makes me cringe even saying it. But his latest mock draft, 0 quarterbacks in the first round.
Oh, yeah. I love it, man.
It's crazy.
Love it.
That won't happen. That won't happen.
I said top 10.
I hope it does.
Quarterbacks.
I hope it does. I think it'd be fucking hysterical if that's what happened. But it just goes to they're just trying to put content out there. At this point in the offseason, I feel like it's just like tough to, I get real skeptical of the names that are getting popular now. Yeah, if you were hyped during the season when you were actually on the field, I'll buy your hype. But if I didn't know your name and I don't hear it until fucking March 15th, you're probably not the guy I want drafted high on my team.
These mock drafts are always wrong, man. They're pretty much like weathermen. I don't know how they get their fucking jobs. Yeah, like Mel Kiper and fucking Todd. Like, they're always fucking wrong, man. They're never right.
This year is really hard to predict just because there's not that quarterback or and nobody knows. And there's a lot of teams that still need quarterbacks, but they don't like this draft class. But you got teams like Atlanta, Seattle. Come trade with the Giants. I'm waiting to take all your fucking picks. I want your picks from this year. I want your picks from next year. Like, there's teams that will get desperate. All we need is that first quarterback. I hope the Lions trade and they get Malik Willis to whoever, because once one quarterback goes, all the other teams like, oh shit, we need to get going on our quarterbacks. So Giants got 2 picks. Don't trade with the Jets. Don't trade with Philly. Trade with us. We're open for business.
2 things for you, Vic, real quick, because I was joking about this exact topic last week, right? Was that, it's only been twice in the last 22 drafts, twice, that a quarterback didn't go in the top 10, right? Yeah. And then the second thing to that was, look at how you just said it, right? So you kind of supported my crazy theory out there, my whole like wild gamble fucking let's shoot from the hip theory, right? Where you said once that first quarterback goes, it's like dominoes. They all start to fucking fall in place, right?
Teams get nervous. They get real nervous in their war rooms.
So imagine, right? If the Giants, let's say they grab Cross at 5 and Malik Willis is still sitting there at 7. If they took Malik Willis, you don't think the phone is ringing for teams that were thinking, oh shit, this guy's going to fall. We got a shot at him. And the Giants come out of nowhere and they snatch him. Let's say at 7, right? So now we got Cross and Malik Willis in the first round. I think teams gonna be knocking on our phone's gonna be ringing like crazy. Wait, who'd you just take? Wait, no. We'll trade you this. We'll trade you that. We'll give you our first round pick. We'll give you one next year. I think that craziness could happen. I'm telling you right now. Look, this draft is gonna be fun. I do think too many
Wall Street movies.
You're nuts. Yeah, for real. The Giants' leverage is gone if they did that.
To the fucking boiler room.
No, I don't think we make the pick. I don't think we make the pick. I think if, say, like Malik Willis goes in top 5 before we pick, I think other teams are going to be desperate.
That's the
That's
obvious
got a
move, but
point.
Jules
That's
is
got a valid
nuts,
point.
man. Jules is thinking like Jules said
Read
something
on the
like
line, baby.
he's gonna draft Malik Willis at 5 and then pick it at 7 and be like, all right, who wants to trade with me now? And then everybody else
Right,
is
you
like,
gotta change
nobody.
it. It's like fantasy football when you double down on one of them quarterbacks. You know what
Yeah.
I'm saying? You know, you coming back around, almost like, all right, he's not taking a quarterback. And you grab that other guy. You're like, yeah, fuck you.
Right. He
You
took
got to
5
trade with me,
kickers.
or I'm running with 2 quarterbacks all year.
I need a kicker. He took fucking all of them.
No, but you know,
Insane.
I'm very glad that he did not agree with Jules' fucking craziness.
Just 2 quick things with that though. It is crazy how this whole thing turns around, like you were kind of commented about before, John, where you said, like, look, at the beginning of the college football season in 2021, the big names at quarterback were Sam Howell and Desmond Ritter. Those are the 2 big names. They were supposed to be 1 and 2, and there was discussion in
Is that the same guy?
preseason.
Yeah.
Is it Rattler? Is his name, not Riddler?
Rattler, Riddler.
Okay, yeah, that name sounded cool.
Yeah. I gotta give him a cooler
right.
name. Maybe they get picked up higher so fucking people trade up for him.
Yeah,
But,
Jim
no.
Carrey as a Riddler, as a quarterback.
But those were the 2 big names. Sam Howell was like, they were arguing saying that he was going to be the #1 overall pick.
Yeah,
he had a terrible 2021 season, and now that's it. The guy might not even get drafted. They're talking like 3rd, 4th round at best for him.
Wow.
And this guy was supposed to be the #1 pick going into the 2021 season. So it is crazy how much that shit changes from the start of the season till now to the preseason and all that bullshit.
Jules, 4 Giants people were at Sam Howell's day to watch him fucking throw the ball. Like, what does that tell you? Like, what are they going to get him in like the 7th round?
And then I'll tell you this, though, with all this speculating going on and whether or not both the tackles will be there, will there be an edge guy? We don't know. Look, if you look at the fact that the Giants got rid of Logan Ryan, they also didn't re-sign Peppers, and you have this caliber of fucking safety sitting out there that could very easily fall to you at 5 or 7, chances are they're taking him. Maybe it's not at 5, right? Especially with the fact that, look, the worst case scenario that we all kind of believe as Giants fans and NFL fans is that both tackles that we mentioned earlier and both edge guys are gone. So now you're in sort of that old what to do now scenario, and everybody's like Cross and all these other names. But realistically, I don't think the odds of those 4 guys going in the top 4 are really that realistic. I think one of them is going to be there at 5. I said that a while back. I just been kind of throwing some fluff out there just to get some more feedback and see what people are thinking. But the reality is I think one of the 4 will be there. And then at 7, if a guy like Hamilton's still there, would you know you need a safety? To me, it's a no-brainer. Like, you got to take a shot on this kid. If he's that fucking good and he's sitting there and you got your right tackle, so your offensive line is secure, and you still got a shit ton of picks left with another 2nd round and 2 3rd-round picks to fill in everything else, to me, I think you got to take a shot on him. I don't know. Maybe I've been listening to Mike for too many weeks in a row, and he's finally sold it to me. But look, it's got to kind of be what the train of thought is. When you see your veteran safety that didn't cost you anything, you didn't free up any fucking money, get released, and then the Peppers goes and signs with New England. So I don't know. You know what I'm saying? Like to me, that there's something going on there that's got to be sort of more in the mix.
After I wasn't about it, I really wanted to fucking draft 2 offensive linemen, 5 and 7. Like that's like my #1 fantasy that I can do. I want this fucking problem to be over. I want to one day sit here and say, remember when our offensive line sucked and the Giants couldn't play football, and look at it now. That's what I fucking hope for.
Hell yeah.
Now that fucking Peppers is gone, which really his attitude is like just his whole persona and stuff like that, being from Jersey. I fucking love Peppers. Logan Ryan, I like too. He was a little too preachy for me. He got a little annoying at points, but I respected him as a football player, as a leader. Like, I wanted him on the team. He went to the Bucks, and maybe he'll go fucking win another ring with Brady. Cool, great. But the Peppers thing is fucking definitely upset me. Now, given the fact that we might be able to get the right tackle, like you said, at 5, and then in some possible way we can get Kyle Hamilton to replace Peppers and Ryan, and then put him next to McKinney for the next 3 or 4 years. The prospect of that is pretty fucking exciting. Yeah. I will say that. If he's worth it, I don't want to overdraft him just for the sake of saying, oh, it's cool to have, a 2022 fucking Legion of Boom. Like, only if he's worth it.
He's worth it.
I'm more open to it.
Can I ask you guys, would you guys rather trade the 7 pick or take Hamilton?
I'll go first. I'll take Hamilton.
Really? Okay.
Yeah, I like him that much. I'm a huge Notre Dame fan, so I watch these guys. You know what I mean? And I just think I think he's honestly probably the best player in the draft. And if we get him at 5 or 7, I'll be fucking going crazy.
Oh wow.
If he's that good, I would definitely say to take him. But I'd be curious, obviously, to know like who we got at 5, obviously, and then who will be passing on at 7, and obviously what are we getting? Like I'm more of the mindset that I'd rather pick the pick of the litter rather than get more. Okay, I'd rather have a fucking Ferrari as opposed to 2 Ultimates. Like, you know what I mean? Like I want to have the best of what we can get. So if it's a matter of, okay, we can get another first round pick for next year and then trade down to like 11, 12, 13 like that and get fucking like Linderbaum and have a top drafted center, top drafted tackle with Thomas, fine.
Right.
I'll worry about fucking getting another good safety, whoever it is next year with that extra first round pick and have 2 again next year. That's what I would say is like best case scenario.
Jules?
Well, in that dream scenario, though, regardless of who we took at 5, how far back am I trading back in the first round here? And what am I getting? Like, to me, that's the most important thing. Like, if we're going all the way back, let's say we're going into the 20s again, or 20, or wherever we got Tony at, right? I'm not even thinking
20,
right now,
yeah.
right? Yeah, 20, right? If you're telling me I'm going all the way back there, better be a first round again next year. Number 1, right? And number 2, we better have fucking gotten one of the big tackles or the edge guy at 5, right? And then I could accept that. Yeah, to me, absolutely. I could be totally down with that, because at that point, now we're back in the 20 mark. Maybe a Lloyd slips that far down. They got him going in the teens. Devin Lloyd, I love that kid in linebacker. You got Tyler Linderbaum. That's around where he's supposed to be going. Maybe not necessarily like I think Philly picks like 15th and 16th or something like that. So we're like literally right behind them, let's say. Or maybe it's Philly that's trying to trade up since they have the 2. Who knows, right? Yeah, all right. We're in that teen area there. I might actually consider that, especially if you're going to tell me I got to pick for next year. That in that scenario, yes, it would have to be something like that. Or we trade back and you give me another second round pick that was like a high second round pick for this season. So that I got those 2 high picks in the second round as well. You know what I'm saying? So like to me, that would have to be the case. If not, and I can't get any of those kind of things, or it's something where it's just not really, that entertaining, then I'm not trading back, because to me, I think this kid could be that player. And honestly, and I know these guys are going to disagree with me, and maybe you will too, Vin. I was never big on Peppers. What did he have? And what did all you guys mention multiple times? I love the shit he would say. I love the enthusiasm. I love this shit. But when I say for Daniel Jones to stick up for himself and just like fucking hold himself accountable, you guys are like, no, I want him to be a fucking mute. I don't want to hear shit.
That's different, bro. Safety quarterback.
It's a different position, so he can say shit. No, it ain't, motherfucker.
Yeah,
You're still
exactly.
talking shit on your team. And all I'm saying is to own your shit. And you see how the fan base automatically gets behind him, because Peppers would own his shit and he would come out, he'd be a spark plug, and people loved it. Jones don't have to be that spark plug, but if he owned his shit, called out his mistakes, said where he needed to get better, I guarantee you the haters would be behind him a little bit more. You might even have Vin here liking him a little bit.
No, I'm just gonna fast forward and skim through fucking some of his press conferences after some games and then show you that you're 100% wrong.
Trader, let me ask you.
Tell me.
Isn't the story on Hamilton is he gets nicked up a lot? He gets hurt a lot, though.
I think that's like a little bit of a myth. I mean, it was like, one season where he's like hurt a couple games. But I mean, this dude is just like, he's a game changer. Like he's got like, remember Ed Reed in Baltimore?
Yeah.
Total ball hawk. He has that skill set. And the thing besides that, he could line up against like, any wide receiver, any tight end, play that man coverage, and he gets to the quarterback. So you could have him, step up in the box like Peppers was doing after they had him actually doing the right thing in New York for the last couple of games before he got injured. He was coming up in the box, rushing the passer, getting to the quarterback.
Like
and
a hybrid.
Yeah, we need a guy that can rush the passer. Yeah. So like having him and McKinney team up as those safeties, and especially in a passing league, like you mentioned, you need that. And I tell you, man, especially with Wink's system, I think he'll be a great addition, man. Like he's got the speed. Don't let that fool like running in pajamas fucking fool you. Like their time and shit. Fuck them. That's ridiculous. I don't care what these guys do in their pajamas. I want to see what they do in between the fucking numbers. You know what I'm saying? And he's got it all.
So let me ask you another question. Would you guys be okay? Say like we don't trade down 5 and 7. and they want to give Wink something. Wink is going to get one of those picks, I think.
You got it.
Would you guys be happy with if we go 5 and 7, both defense?
I wouldn't mind it.
Yeah, yeah. I mean, that was something I raised a question up a couple of weeks back when we were starting to sign all these offensive linemen. I mentioned a few of the names. That tackles that could literally fall into that sort of second round area that'll still be very, very good, serviceable right tackles, right? Because a lot of people say, if you really listen to some of the actual analysts and NFL like people that go through all this type of shit, they usually say those guys that get taken in those first picks right there, especially in the top 5, they're usually left tackles. And that's why you're taking them that high, because now you're putting that foundation piece to protect your quarterback, right? Yep. So now with the right tackle, you usually can find some solid talent, especially in the early part of that second round. And look, who knows, if there's still a tackle that falls down and it's getting into the late part of the first round, who says we don't trade up that second round pick like we did a couple of years back? And this time we go out and we get that tackle so that we end up having the 3 first-round picks. So all of that is on the table. The thing is that I think is a little overlooked with Hamilton is that because of the position he plays, he's not supposed to be taken high. He's not supposed to be taken in the top 5, maybe arguably not even the top 10. You don't draft a safety that high. That's the problem. But if you look at any of these analysts, I don't care if it's USA Today, PFF, Walter Football, any of them, and they just rank their top 100 prospects. That's it. Right? Fuck where they're playing. Fuck where they're supposed to be drafted. Doesn't matter. Their top 100. I have never seen him lower than 4. In most places, he's either 2 or 3. And the other guys on the board will probably not make it to us at 5. So if you want to go based on what you're saying, where you're literally just purely grabbing the best talent available, according to all these websites, it's not like, I'm pulling this from Mel Kiper and all these schmucks. I'm talking about the guys that literally sit there and do all the analytic work. He's supposed to be that much of a talent. Now, whether or not he is, whether or not that equates to the NFL, we never know. We never know. But to me, if that is the case, and you literally let 2 starting safeties from last year go, whether it be for free agency and cut the other one, to me, it makes it it's like that would be the dumbest thing not to, right at that point. So yeah, that means that we get like an edge rusher and him. Fuck it, so be it. You know what I mean? Fuck it. Wink's gonna be a happy motherfucker.
I think if they draft 2 defensive players with 5 and 7, that would mean that they think that those 2 players are special players, because the need is definitely on the offensive side of the ball. There's no question about it. So if they think that they're going to invest that much on the defensive side of the ball, they must think that there's something akin to having Ed Reed and Ray Lewis play together for 10 years.
Yeah.
Out of one draft. And if that's the case, and they're right, fucking bring it on. I'm 100% fine with that.
New York's all about the defense. That's how the foundation has been since the beginning of this organization. They need to bring that defensive back, and they can figure out the offense side of the ball, especially with guys coming back from injuries. Let's not sugarcoat it. Everybody dropped dead last year. So like Vinny said before, Shane Lemieux's coming back. If he's the fucking guy you want as fucking one of the guard spots, he could throw right in there. And it hurts the guy if he gets back healthy, or Gano could hold his spot until he gets back on the right side. Maybe they see something that a lot of the fans don't. So, I mean, who knows, man? Who knows what could happen?
Did you guys see that statistic that we're like the most injured team for the past like 9 years or something? Like,
I didn't even need to see that.
Yo,
I know.
Far and far away. Like we're nobody's even close to us. I think a major issue is the turf that they play on. They play faster on it.
It's the whole stadium, Ben. I would burn that place down.
I can't stand it. I am not a fan. I don't go to Giant games anymore. And I go to away games.
It looks like an air conditioner, man. Like, what the fuck? You drive by it. They won't even put it in the beginning of The Sopranos. They were like, yeah, we have to leave that fucking part out because it's a fucking.
They cut it off 95. They shoot back to Tony, and then they go back to 95 and shit.
It's fucking horrible, man.
Go straight to the Bing.
Yeah, the bottom Bing. Yeah, I tell you, I would definitely get rid of that fucking place, no doubt.
Oh yeah, I mean, listen, I hate that stadium, and the fact that it's funny that we actually are talking about the stadium, because 2 things with this, right? One, the only thing I gotta say, if it was sort of turf related, then why aren't the Jets number 2, right? Because they play the same amount of games on the same exact field.
Good point.
So like, if it was literally a real field thing, you would have both the injuries on both the teams. Yes, I know they have their deal with injuries, but they're not up there with us, right? According to this stat and everything else. The second thing to that is, it's fucking crazy because here we are. This is supposed to be the team. It's New York City. We got all this money. And then you see stadiums getting built in LA. You see stadiums getting built in Vegas.
Buffalo
and
now.
Who just got fucking, who
I
just
saw
got
Buffalo.
a whole fucking new grant that we're going to be paying for as taxpayers down here in New York City.
I got to
The
go.
Buffalo Bills.
I got to go.
This fucking stadium. And dude, with that kind of money, they're sinking like, I think 1.2 or 1.5 billion into this new stadium. In fucking Orchard Park, New York, a suburb of Buffalo, Western New York, right? To be fair, dude, that shit's gonna be fucking insane. Like they're gonna probably have like gourmet restaurants and shit, like slides for kids.
You're
And
gonna do it
fucking
right.
who knows
Yeah.
what? Like you're gonna go
One
there,
of
it's
the
gonna be like a
craziest part-
party. They have a disco in there or something. I don't know.
The Giants and the Jets spent 1.5 billion on their
Yeah,
stadium.
they spent a lot of money.
And
On
it's
what?
it's like when you look at the fucking at MetLife Stadium, remember back in the day with Madden, it will let you kind of design a stadium like for your created team.
Yeah, I remember that.
Yeah,
I
it was like
do,
just a
I do.
generic, and you can like put in the colors and the fucking field turf and all that stuff. Whatever the demo was, they just fucking selected that. They didn't put any options or anything like that. They said, what is like demo fucking stadium? Let's just do that. No fucking frills. Spent $1.5 billion 15 years ago. I mean, when did the stadium? Oh, excuse me. It opened in 2012. So 10 years ago. $1.5 billion. And every single stadium that's come out after it, it abuses the garbage we have in this fucking
Well,
state.
listen,
Crazy.
we alluded to it earlier, John. Everybody in this chat right now, and most of our listeners should know, the reason why that shit costs 1.5 billion is because of guys like Tony Soprano, right?
Right.
Since you got jacked up, that stadium only really cost maybe like 800 million or something, right?
I was gonna say 80,000.
Yeah.
and everybody
That's
else
why it
got
looks like
fucking
a piece
paid.
of shit. I think really only cost about 700 million. You know what I'm saying? There was about 500 that went a different way.
Unless it went to all the suites that I never sat in, I don't understand it either. I don't get it.
Yeah, I mean, dude, it's a joke, man. I think what they're doing at JFK and making the way that they with the bars and the hotels and everything they got at JFK looks better than fucking MetLife. That's a fucking airport. That what are you doing at an airport except flying?
It's
Just
just
taking that place
big. That's the only thing that you can say is like it's a big fucking building. that's fucking, it's just a swamp, a fucking ski slope that looks real weird. Some Ferris wheel now because they had to put the Ferris wheel up, and then this oversized fucking Fortnite fucking air conditioning system.
Wait, and let's not forget, John. It was building that fucking ski slope since Giant Stadium was there.
Yeah,
right? They
finished
finally
now.
opened it too, and I heard it's like a dump of a fucking slope that you can go in there and do indoor slalom or some shit. They were saying that the U.S. Olympic team would start training there. Bro, I don't even think like fucking the Hoboken high school team will fucking train there. That shit's so bad.
Yeah, you did that in like
You
15 seconds, my friend said.
If Russia
It's
comes,
just the novelty of being able to go like strap on a board close to home and like and snowboard for half an hour. It's cool, but other than that, that's it.
The
But
best
mall
thing was
apparently is
Seacook has
really,
got
really
that
nice
mall up and running, and they got like a bunch of places that you can actually go shopping, which is like right over from there. But other than that, like what the fuck, man? Like there's nothing, bro. It sucks. I hate MetLife. Look, and if you want to think about it, right? Like in 09 or what was it? Yeah, 09 or whatnot, you had both Yankee Stadium and Citi Field built basically right around the same time, and this was built a couple of years later. They kind of got it right. I mean, look, you could criticize Yankee Stadium all you want, but it's not terrible in comparison. And this shit was done after, all right? And Citi Field, man, Citi Field is actually pretty fucking cool to go visit.
it is nice.
So
What's the criticism of Yankee
it
Stadium?
sucks in a way.
What's the criticism of Yankee Stadium though?
That City Field's better. It's better.
That's the main
Why?
one. And that
They
and that
made
Yankee
the
Stadium
field
was too
after the
circular.
fucking the Dodgers or something like that. It was like a fucking homage to fucking the Brooklyn Dodgers. They didn't even
was.
build the fucking stadium for their own team.
Yeah, the front's supposed to look like Everett Field.
Yeah, it wasn't even about the fucking Mets. It was about a different team that they play against every fucking season.
But they
How
made
is- how is-
they
how
made
is Citi
Yankee
Field
Stadium
better?
look like Yankee Stadium, pretty much. The old Yankee Stadium. It's pretty much like looks like the same shit.
a
Like
modern version of it.
yeah,
Yeah,
modern
that's
version.
really it.
So it's
Why
like,
are they upset about this? I don't understand.
But that's
not-
what I'm saying, though. Like, so
not
those
really
two deals
upset
were-
about it.
Those two deals were done in actually the boroughs, so there's even a little more Tony Soprano action going on there. And they got built and done, and they look good. And then a couple years later, you build this stadium that was going to host the Super Bowl. Yeah, the NFL's like, yo, we're never going back to fucking New York to do a Super Bowl. Like, fuck this thing. That shit was garbage. Like, dude, I always said this, if I was the Jets and they really wanted to establish themselves, and it's a little too late for them to do it at this point because Buffalo's taken over as that second team in the state of New York. But like, if they did, they should have been smart and just played somewhere else. Stadium. They should have done whatever they could to get that shit done on the West Side Highway when they had that chance and all that talk was going on. Because if they would have established themselves out there, I'm telling you, all these fucking bandwagon Giants fans that are on the fence that just want to get in there and get us all riled up and talk all shit about the Giants all the time, I guarantee you half of them would be fucking Jet fans right now.
I gotta say, it's mind-boggling to me that in 2022 there are professional sports teams that actually share stadiums. I think it's fucking crazy to me.
Yeah.
With all the money that the NFL makes and Major League Baseball makes, and it's like it's crazy to me that anybody even shares a stadium. I don't care that it's 16 games. You're a professional sports team. You know what I mean? Like you should have your own place, your own stadium.
I agree.
You know what the fucked up part is? They had Giants Stadium. Like we were one of the few places that was like, it was a football fucking stadium, and they sold out and let their fucking stepchild fucking little brother in, and just gray washed the entire fucking thing.
No character.
Yeah,
it should be blue all over.
The only consolation about this whole thing is that in its second year of operation, we won a Super Bowl. So. At the very least, I'll take that.
Well, we had to christen that shit. You know what I mean?
Yeah, right. I hope Russia invades us and they just go right to MetLife Stadium first.
And wait, if I'm not mistaken, did we play? We didn't even play any fucking home games that year, right? That whole playoff run, wasn't that when we were on the road? Oh no, that was the one before. Never mind. But I just say,
home Warriors
one home game. Like,
we had one home game that we whooped fucking Atlanta. I was at that game.
Oh boy. I think, Jules, we got to wrap this up.
Yeah, we'll wrap this up, Vin, like I do to everybody when they come on the show, right? So here it is, man. I can give you an under-over if it helps, but got to put you on the spot here. What's the Giants' record in 2022?
17.
I'm
just going to edit you out. If you go under 500, I'm just going to edit you out and you're going to hear my voice. 17 and up.
I'll come on next week and repeat it. Don't worry about
it. Let me preface this because I'm going to get edited out.
We give you a scenario that happens in the draft because it's draft season. They draft Evan Neal and Thibodeau. They get them both.
I wish.
Because Thibodeau falls, right? Like all that talk, because look, I've even seen Thibodeau as far as 14 going to the Ravens.
Yeah, exactly. We
get
some
people are mocking him that far. That's ridiculous. I don't think he falls out of the top 10 by any chance.
Somehow, some way.
So yeah, dream scenario.
One team above us loses a draft pick. Who fucking knows? Owner's pulling his cock out or something like that at the waitress. Who knows? They lose their draft pick. We get those two guys or somebody of that kin going in.
I'll take it. I'll take those two.
All right, so what happens now with the record?
What happens in the season?
So we end up with those two guys. Again, they're still rookies. I don't know if they'll be rookie of the year. Daniel Jones is still our quarterback. This is a true rebuild, guys. This is like what we should have done, not the half-ass shit with Joe Judge, with Gettleman, like trying to win, and then he went berserko and kicked the can down the road by signing all those big contracts last year without a line. So I think we'll be in last place in the NFC East.
Definitely gonna hear fart noise right there.
I think we'll see a little bit of an improvement. I think Daniel Jones will get hurt in the middle of the year at some point. So we will see Tyrod Taylor. I'll put money on that.
Listen, I'm happy if I can get 14. If I get 14 games out of him, I'll be fucking ecstatic. All right. Anything over 14 for Daniel is a good thing.
That's the over under 14 games.
Yeah, 14
games, like
right?
11.
It's probably 13 and a half, just in case he plays 13. I still
got a neck injury now. The dude's got a neck injury now. I'm gonna go with something like, I think our ceiling is 6 wins.
Just shut up.
I'm sorry. Don't edit me out.
6 and 11. All right.
We're in a true rebuild though. I say that.
I feel dirty.
Optimism.
I gotta take a shower like real quick as soon as I get off this fucking podcast.
I can't be a homer like that. I can't.
I get it. guess.
know,
we're always crazy betting people, and I believe that the early under over is 8. Believe it or not, right now.
Is it really?
Yeah, it's that fucking high for the Giants already. I saw it is a little
They know
crazy.
that the
That's
team
why I
has
said I
good
would give you
players
the
on
under
it.
over for
They
help.
do. They got good
Where
players.
do you guys have them? Where do you guys feel like they're gonna finish?
I got them right
the
there.
draft?
When I got them right there.
13-4.
Yeah, I got them at 8 wins. I got 'em at
13-4, trainer.
Hell
No,
yeah. Because the referees will blow 4 games and I'll blame it on the
Oh,
ref.
yeah, they're insane.
I can see them winning anywhere from 8 to 10 games realistically.
That might get
Wow.
us to the playoffs, especially the NFC now that all the quarterbacks went to the AFC.
If
Yeah, but
listen,
Rodgers
if
came back,
Dable-
Brady came back. If you'd have came back, say, it's like,
Yeah.
God damn it.
You guys believe in Dable like that? You think Dable? I don't know shit about Dable other than he hit on Josh Allen. That's all I know.
I don't know if I believe him. I just believe that we're getting a lot of guys that were injured last year coming back, and now I want to see the full team play. I want to see what these guys have in them.
Who's to say that these dudes don't get hurt again, though? You know?
I mean, fingers crossed, man.
I
You what
know.
mean?
I know.
Jules,
think
before you
that's
wrap
our-
it up, I want to make a list.
Well, I
of
was just going to
any
say real
countries
quick,
listening.
too, just to kind of answer within that. Look, it's not just Dable, right? You have Wink Martindale, who literally had that Ravens defense. Granted, last year he didn't, but there was so many injuries to that team. He also was a defensive coordinator that had been coaching with a team that was mainly a primary running team. And they would throw short. So like the offense would stay on the field a lot more. So he can risk those guys and wear them out, blitzing them and doing all types of shit. Where he had to kind of change some of his philosophy last year.
Right.
And last year wasn't terrible. The Ravens still were pretty decent at times. They were just getting thrown on a lot and they had guys out. So, you put Wink Martindale back on this team. He's a hell of a defensive coordinator. I like him better than Patrick Graham. I'm sorry. I've been an advocate for him. So I think that also makes us better. I love what Dable did as far as his offensive genius. Like some of the play calling when teams know that you're not running the ball and all you're doing is passing all the fucking time. And he's still getting Josh Allen to throw the ball down the field and find guys wide open, making Cole Beasley look like a fucking Pro Bowler at times, with like 14 catches. The guy's coming up with some shit. And now you bring in Kafka, who literally was just doing that with the Chiefs, who was there and they didn't want to let him go. So it's a good bunch of minds. If these guys can all work together. And then the whole thing, I got to give fucking Shane some credit as well, because, Brian Bean, that's up in Buffalo. He's a hell of a GM. The guy knows how to make it work. I mean, look at what he got Von Miller there. Like he's making it, they're going for it in Buffalo right now. And this is his protege. So, yeah, you're right. I don't know if we're going to come out the gate and win this year. 8 wins, to me, I would be thrilled about. Yes, if we end up at 7, fine. Anything above 8, to me, fuck it. We're going to go bananas. 6, I think, is a little low. I think we're going to beat some teams this year. I really do. I think I could see us easily splitting the division. I could see us getting 3 wins in the division. Just in the division alone. 3 wins. So you're telling me we're going to get 3 wins against the rest of the NFL the rest of the season? Come on, you got to figure at least 4 or 5, maybe. So I don't know. Again, health is a concern. What we do in the draft, major concerns. So that's just my take on that.
I'm going to sound crazy. You don't think
Yeah.
Dallas is going to sweep us? Dallas has owned us for a long time now. Philly has owned us
Dallas is
for a long
windows
time.
closed now.
I can see us getting lucky, man.
Yeah, Dallas's windows closed. Their locker room is shot. They're fucking trading away players, losing players. Like
They drafted well,
Dallas
though.
is going to be on a fucking what?
I feel like they drafted pretty well. They've done a good job in the draft. They've done a great job. Like
Sure,
I
I
hate
mean-
Dallas. Believe me, I hate Dallas. But like Jerry Jones' son knows what he's doing with the draft. You know what I mean? And now that Dak money's starting to trickle in where they're losing guys. You know what I mean?
Yeah, add Zeke's money too. Like,
Yeah,
they play those.
I
They
kinda
play those. Don't
was
they
gonna
pay
say
those
that.
2 guys like $55 or $60 million a year?
Keep
together?
paying them.
Keep paying them.
Well,
So
I
they're
can see
losing
something.
guys.
I
Their
can
offensive
see,
line isn't going to be as good.
like, it'll never happen because it never works out this way for our schedule. But let's say we had the Cowboys have to come to fucking New York for week 2, and they're coming off of a loss. That could be that game like we had against Washington last year, where we could kind of pick them off, right? Because you're catching them, like, because, Washington came in with high hopes, top 3 defense in the NFL. They're going to win. They signed Ryan Fitzpatrick. That's all they needed, right? And we took it to them in Washington and should have won that game, right? So that's where we'd have to be. Look, if we have to play Dallas like we kind of played Philly, like towards more the end, like towards that crunch time, maybe they do end up sweeping us. It really depends when we play them, but I'm telling you, don't be surprised if the Giants pick them off. And that's why I think early, if we could play them early, like we used to open up against them, we always opened in fucking Dallas, which drove me nuts. But like if we opened, they'll play them week 2. Yeah, I'm telling you, especially if it's like a quick turnaround, like we did with
You don't think with 3 picks in the top 15, 16 picks, Philly's going to be better? They just signed Reddick. Reddick is an animal.
Jalen Hurts is fucking trash, dude. And they got no solid running game. So unless they pick up a quality running back, Miles Sanders will probably get hurt in the fucking first quarter against the Giants. And then they'll be running fucking Scott against us. So Scott's the fucking Giants.
I don't like Philly.
And that dude always seems to fucking be good. But Jalen Hurts, bro, Jalen Hurts reminds me of a high school quarterback. That's how bad I think that kid is. All right.
Yeah, right.
None of them are markedly better than the Giants at the point.
All right. He's a high school quarterback. Any Philly fan come at me. All right, that dude can't throw the ball. He can't throw the ball in the numbers after 20 yards. Like, give me a break. So, Mike, I know you had a question before I end up getting beef with all of Philadelphia.
No, I just want to say before you wrap it up, Juice, I just want to shout out all the countries that are listening to us. Some countries made the list besides the United States: India, United Kingdom, Israel, Azerbaijan. Which, by the way,
keep listening, huh?
Yeah, they keep listening.
I
by
like
the way,
them, man.
That's a place I had to look it up. It's like it's a country located on the boundary of Eastern Europe and Western Asia.
Yeah, Central Asia.
Central Asia. That's right. All right, but we're the teacher, so you should know that. I'm just looking up Wikipedia. I know you don't accept that as the correct.
It's a former Soviet country.
Yeah.
Nice. So
right.
So we got everybody listening to this podcast. So
yo, you got dudes from Azerbaijan listening to you. That's dope.
Oh, wait, there's more, Ben. Hold on.
How do you say it? Azerbaijan?
There's Barbados, there's Canada, Pakistan, and 2 more countries made the list from last week was Switzerland and Germany. So we got a lot of people listening.
We're branching out like the NFL into Europe. Right?
Well, that's so fucking cool.
I'm assuming they understand English. They understand the New York talk.
They just like my jokes. They like my enthusiasm on the New York Giants going 13-4.
and they just like hear me fucking yell to like a horse in my throat. Fucking, they don't even know what I'm saying. They're just like, oh, that guy sounds crazy. It's cool.
That's it, man. That's all I wanted to say, man. Shout out to the people. Thanks for listening, man.
Well, listen, we're gonna wrap this up. John, did you have one more thing before we close?
Fuck it. It's already.
Fuck it. We'll see it next week. But yo, listen, I wanted to thank Vin again for coming on. Thank you, brother, for joining us. Look, man, like I said, I've been shouting it out all like for the next couple of weeks. We're doing like an open NFL fucking draft day fucking ticket. Come on if you want. Join us, even if it's just for 1 pick, 2 picks, or the whole draft. Doesn't matter. We're keeping it open. It's going to be like that kind of open form. It's going to be a lot of joking around, a lot of drinking, a lot of shot taking. It'll be virtual, but it'll still be fun. This way you can do it from the privacy of your home and relax. You don't have to worry about driving. You know, you gotta take a cab nowhere. And we'll make that draft a lot more exciting than it usually is. But with all that said, all right, we're going to wrap this up this week. You know where to find us. Keep listening. Hit subscribe. We love it. We'll talk to you guys later. Peace.
Peace.
Go Big Blue.